Let's talk defensive line and Todd Gurley. What is up, Finn fans? If you can tell by the title, we went from talking about offensive line to now talking about defensive line. And I'm going to be talking about both defensive tackles or nose tackle, depending on what scheme we were running, and pass rushers. Also, for comment of the day, when you guys emailed me something that involves Todd Gurley potentially going to the Dolphins. I know I did it for a comment of the day, talking about rumors, but this one's interesting. So before we jump into all that jazz, I'm recording this on a Tuesday. You guys are getting this on a Wednesday. So Tuesday, for me, trivia day. February 11th. I don't know what happened to my voice there. Which Penn State star caught 415 passes, number 4 on the club's all-time list, for the Dolphins from 1993 to 2000? So which former Penn State star caught 415 passes for the Dolphins from 1993 to 2000? I know a lot of you guys are going to get this. I want to give you the answer right before comment of the day, right before we talk about Todd Gurley, so stick around for that. I'm going to give you guys the fact that is for the day that you're watching this, which is a Wednesday. So let's jump into defensive line. Now, the Miami Dolphins and this defensive line were inconsistent at best, and we're going to jump into it. Now, was it as bad as the offensive line? No. In my personal opinion, I think the offensive line is not far worse, but the offensive line was worse than the Miami Dolphins defensive line. I think the Dolphins defensive line, for me, it was more the pass rushers. It was more the guys on the edge getting pressure. It wasn't working. It just really wasn't working. So let's do what I normally do. Let's break down who we had at pass rusher when the season started week 1, and then who we ended up with finishing. And to start, we had at defensive end, John Jenkins, Avery Moss, Charles Harris, and Trent Harris. And our defensive tackles or nose tackles, sometimes they would move around, was Godchild, Wilkins, and Ledbetter. Season ended. Ledbetter, we all know, didn't last the whole season with the Dolphins, but it ended with Jenkins, Avery Moss, Taco Charlton, and Charles Harris at pass rusher, and then Godchild, Wilkins, Gerald Willis, and Zach Seiler, who was a good pickup for the Dolphins. If you guys watched that Giants game, Zach Seiler, who we picked up from the Ravens, had a very good game, and he actually was getting a lot of pressure. We actually started getting more pressure on the quarterbacks towards the end of the year and getting some more sacks. So when it comes to that, the team, we were last in the NFL in sacks. We had 23 sacks in the NFL, last. The second worst teams, where there was a 3-way tie between the Detroit Lions, the Atlanta Falcons, and the Seattle Seahawks, surprisingly, who got Jadeveon Clowney. Surprisingly, Seattle Seahawks with only 28 total sacks for their team. We were ranked 27th in rushing yards allowed, and we were ranked 21st in touchdowns. So, and our pass rushing wasn't, our pass defense wasn't as great. And yes, the defensive line is incorporated that. We were in the bottom half of it. It wasn't great. Now, when you get we all know this. You get no pressure on the quarterback. You can't stop the run. You're going to fall apart. And for the Dolphins, mostly because after a while, towards the second half of the season, our run defense got a little bit better. This overall number of 27th in rushing yards allowed and 21st in touchdowns allowed, a lot of that had to do with the first half of the season. We couldn't stop anything. But then the second half of the season, the Dolphins' run defense started to become a little bit better. Now, am I saying it's something that shouldn't be talked about, something that shouldn't be fixed? No. But it did start to get better. But the pass rush, our defensive ends getting after the quarterback. Now, I understand that this scheme, a lot of times they like to use outside linebacker when it comes to Beal, when it came to Ginkle, when it came to all those guys getting pressure. Baker sometimes got some sacks. Even some of our corners and safeties got sacks, like Needham, that nice sack against the Jets. But when it comes to just straight defensive line pass rush and just straight defensive line sacks, it was bad. And it needs to be addressed. It most definitely needs to be addressed. Now, when it comes to the bright spots on this defensive line, when it comes to some guys that I'm like, I like what they did, and some guys that I'm like, no. Let's talk about the good first before I jump into the bad. Now, Devon Gacho. Yes, obviously the whole defensive line unit as a whole wasn't great this season, but Devon Gacho had a good season. Devon Gacho, that's the thing that we have to understand too. You can have one or two bright spots on a defensive line. They will, this is going to sound stupid. Their shine won't shine as bright when you got mud around it, if that makes any sense. If you don't have a pass rush and if you don't have guys around to produce, all of a sudden the offensive line is going to focus on that shining star. It's going to focus on your main guy and shut him down because they don't got to worry about the other 3 or 4 guys. So Devon Gacho and Christian Wilkins being a rookie had a pretty good season. Out of all the defensive tackle rookies, that's what he was drafted as, he was ranked second behind Ed Oliver. So he was the second best defensive tackle taken in the 2019 draft, which is great. I'm happy with that. Now, would I have liked Christian Wilkins to get more sacks? Yes, of course. But it's hard to get more sacks when you got nothing around you to help you support. They're just going to double you. They're just going to shift away from you. They're going to, move the quarterback away from you. They're going to do all these things. He was disruptive. If you watch tape, Godchild and Wilkins were disruptive, especially Wilkins. There was a lot of times where he would get in the backfield. He wouldn't get there in time. They get the ball off, but he would get back there. So, yes, for a rookie year, I don't think it was bad. Was it great? Was it one of the best rookie defensive tackles years that we've ever seen? No. He had 2 sacks. That's not good. But again, he's playing defensive tackle in a 3-4 scheme. Yes, a lot of times he went out to defensive end. But again, like I said, he got no supporting cast around him. And then it wasn't until the end of the season that Jenkins started to produce. There's a few games that all of a sudden John Jenkins, we were like, oh, look at this guy. Like I said, Zach Seiler, the guy we picked up from the Ravens, he started to produce. But again, we had no pure pass rush. Charles Harris, Taco Charlton, all of these guys, Avery Moss, there was no pure pass rush. No guys coming off the edge to help these guys in the middle, and it was bad. It was bad. The opposing team only they didn't even have to leave like a tight end or someone in to block a running back. They just like, these guys aren't going to get it on us, and it was true. It was true. So, like I said, looking at this team, we need pass rushers. Now, defensive tackle, is it a dire need? Is it something that needs to be addressed? I necessarily don't think so. Would I add a defensive tackle? Yes. I would still add maybe 1 or 2 defensive tackles. Because like I said, Gerald Willis, John Jenkins, he can go into DT. I liked him. So John Jenkins, Christian Wilkins, Godchild, Zach Seiler. I like what I'm seeing. But pass rush, we need pass rush. So when it comes to free agency, I'm going to throw some names at you. Are we going to sign all these names? And again, last video, I threw names at you, and you guys were saying, well, you forgot about this guy. You forgot about that guy. I'm not throwing names at, like I said, I'm making separate video for who I want to sign and who I want to cut and all that stuff. Oh, speaking of that, sorry, I forgot to talk about the bad. Charles Harris, the bust. He's going to be gone. I honestly don't think Taco Charlton's going to make the team. I think he's going to be gone. But Charles Harris, he disappeared. He had a great preseason. We were all excited for him. He was my biggest letdown because I had such high hopes for him. Then he disappeared. So Charles Harris, I don't see you being on the team. But that does suck because I think they're going to eat like a $3 million cap hit if they do cut him. But I don't see him being on the team. So let's talk about free agents. And like I said, these are just names I'm throwing out at you. Are these names that I want to go for? Possibly. But there's just these are names that I'm throwing out at you. Jadeveon Clowney's a free agent. Now, there was the whole thing last year with the Dolphins trying to trade with the Texans to get Jadeveon Clowney. We were going to send Tunsil and whatever for Clowney and whatever. That didn't fall through because he didn't want to come here. He didn't want to be part of a rebuild. He wanted to be part of a team that's going to do something. Now, will he come here for the money or whatever? I don't know. Do I want him here? I'm indifferent about it. If he comes here, I trust Flores and his mindset because Flores is the type of guy, I'm going to talk about this in its own video, what Flores is looking for in free agents. That's going to be its own video, but I'll trust Flores. You got Clowney, Yannick Ngakoue. That's probably the number one guy that I probably would go after. He's probably one of the guys I'd spend big money on. I like him. I like him a lot. And then you also got like Dante Fowler out there. There's a possibility of potentially bringing him in. And Shaquille Barrett from the, he's another guy that, these guys produced last year. These guys that you can bring in. One of them bring in. Have that veteran leadership at that pass rusher situation, and then you can focus on the others in the draft. That's what I would do personally. I would pick probably one of the top, like Ngaku, sorry. Maybe Dante Fowler, maybe Shaquille Barrett, but Ngaku is probably the guy I would go for in free agency, and then focus on the draft. But there's also D tackles out there. Like I said, I'm not resting on my laurels when it comes to D tackles. Chris Jones and Armstead are pretty good D tackles that are out there. So if the Dolphins do decide, but again, they're going to be high priced, and I don't know if I'm going to be paying high price for defensive tackle, because like I said, I like Wilkins, I like Godchild. But like I said, I'd ride with Wilkins and Godchild. But I think I would draft the DT. Let's talk about the draft. And then when it comes to draft defensive ends, you got Chase Young, who's probably going to go 1 or 2, and I don't see the Dolphins trading up to get him at 1 or 2, even though there's rumors out there that the Dolphins are talking to all 31 teams about trading somewhere. I think Chase Young is out of the realm of possibility unless they pull some type of magic move off and move up to get him. You have AJ Espenza from Iowa. I like him. I'd like to probably grab him. I don't know if 5 is too high, and I don't know if 18 is too low, so I don't know where he would fall in there. I'm hearing good things about him. Chasen, the LSU defensive end pass rush, and Gross Matos, the Penn State pass rush. When it comes to Espenza, Chasen, and Gross Matos, those are 3 guys that the Dolphins could possibly grab in this draft with either 5, 18, or 26. Maybe even in the second round, depending on how the draft falls. And then when it comes to defensive tackle, like I said, I probably would draft one of these guys, but I don't know if they'd be in that realm of possibility. But you got Brown from Auburn and Kinlaw from South Carolina. Those are just the top 2 that I got off the top of my dome right now. There are more defensive tackles that the Dolphins could take later in the draft, but those are just 2 names I'm throwing out at you. But when it comes to this team and what I would address, again, I'm making a video going more in depth about this. I would grab a veteran pass rusher because we need some type of impact right away at pass rush. Draft a pass rusher, maybe 2, and maybe grab a defensive lineman. Both trenches need to be completely worked on because they both were bad. They both were especially the offensive line. But we talked about that video, 2 days ago? So Monday, 2 days ago. So that's what I would do at defensive line. Comment below. Let me know what you guys think. If you guys have some free agent defensive linemen you guys can think of, comment below. Same thing with the draft. Comment below. Who do you like? Who would you grab? When would you grab them? Comment below. And before I get to comment of the day, let me give you the answer to the trivia question. So, what former Penn State star caught 415 passes for the Dolphins from 1993 to 2000? I'll give you guys a second in the premiere. Do you guys know? Let me see. Yep. I'm pretty sure you guys got this. O.J. McDuffie. I'm pretty sure all of you guys got that one. O.J. McDuffie. And here's the fact for Wednesday, January 12th. Wasn't even close to my garbage when I threw that. The Dolphins went 2-4 against the AFC East foes in the 2017 season. They split the home and home series with the division champs Patriots and with the Jets, but they were swept by the Bills in a pair of late season games. Why? Roadrunner, this calendar. Well, that's a horrible fact. I knew it, but why would you remind me of that? Why? So this comment of the day is actually an email. Like I said, I think it was Monday's video or the video before that when you guys talked to me, or the comment of the day was about Todd Gurley, about the trade rumors for Todd Gurley. And I talked about it. I talked about how trade rumors and all that stuff. And then I said, maybe I would go for him, but then he kind of like his injury bug kind of bothered me and this and that. But Derek Manzi emailed me and he said, this is actually intriguing to me. Check out this article. And the article was from the Dolphins Wire. And the article talks about Todd Gurley, again, possibly going to the Dolphins. And again, I was like, all right, I'll read it. You guys email me an article. You guys email me something. I'm going to check it out. I respect the crap out of every single one of you. And I respect your knowledge of every single one of you. So when you guys tell me, hey, check this out, I always check it out. So I read the article and it was interesting to me. Essentially, in a nutshell, what the article talks about is what the Dolphins were doing when it comes to buying draft picks. Kind of like how the Cleveland Browns bought draft picks from the Houston Texans when they took on Brock Osweiler. Kind of like how the Dolphins bought draft picks from the Rams when they took on Aqib Talib. And they're talking about that again. Essentially, the Rams are in a cap hell right now. And for 2020 and 2021, they owe Todd Gurley $22 million. So they owe him $11 million over the next 2 years. Each year, $11 million, $22 over the next 2 years. The Dolphins can eat that, no problem. $11 million for the next 2 years, bring in Todd Gurley, it's not a problem. And then if he produces, he produces. If not, we got enough money just to eat the $11 million for the past 2 years, next 2 years. And this is what they propose. The Dolphins can somehow swindle it that they get a second and Todd Gurley from the Rams and eat that $22 million for them, and we give them a fourth. So if you tell me that we can get Todd Gurley and a second, essentially having 3 seconds, 3 firsts, 3 seconds, and 1/3, going back to having 6 picks in the first 3 rounds, and all we have to do is give up a fourth, I wouldn't not do it. Now, again, there's some aspects about Todd Gurley that worry me, but I would do it. Now that I really think about it, yeah, I'd do it. $11 million a year for the next 2 years for Todd Gurley, see what he can do, and then if he can't do anything, all right, ship him off and get another running back. I don't hate that move. Comment below, let me know what you guys think about that move, about eating the $20 million from the Rams and getting a second in Todd Gurley and giving them our fourth, which essentially is our comp pick for Juwan James. We'd give them that. We'd have no 4th round pick, but we'd have 3 firsts, 3 seconds, and 1/3. Comment below, let me know what you think. I kind of like that idea. The more I stew about it, the more I like it. So be sure to comment below and let me know what you think. But other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Been posting more on Instagram, and I post on Twitter all the time. I love having conversations with you guys on Instagram. We were talking about some of the corners and some moves in free agency that is a possibility. When someone pops up that there's a potential for the Dolphins to get him, or he doesn't want to be on the team anymore, like the cornerback from the Redskins, Bernard, I think it was. I'm probably saying his name wrong. It intrigued me. I said, maybe, but be sure to follow me on Twitter. You can see the stuff I was talking about. Be sure to check out the Bit Boys. The podcast is probably going to come out soon, so you can go over check that out. It's about everything. It's called A Bit of Everything. We talk about whatever. But also, it's a video game channel, so if you like video games and all that stuff, be sure to go over check that out. Other than that, give this video a thumbs up. I'm going to churn out these breakdown videos, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down each position when it comes to free agency and who I want to grab. Available quarterbacks, available running backs, available this, that, and who I want. So that's what I'm going to do when it comes to each of those videos. So I got a lot of videos planned. So be sure to give this video a thumbs up because you like the content and because why not? Check out DolphinsTalk.com, a very, very good site. I'm associated, other YouTubers associated, great Dolphin content. Hit that subscribe button because I just told you one of the next series I have coming up. Because after this, we got linebackers, corners, safeties, and then this is done. Then I'm going to go more into the free agency, the offseason cuts, re-signs, all that stuff. So I got a lot planned. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Also, right here, guys, be sure to hit the bell and put all on it. Also, I usually don't say this to you guys, but share the channel. We are a little over 1,000 subscribers away from 10,000 subscribers. I honestly can't tell you how much it would mean if we broke or when we break 10,000 subscribers. So be sure to, share it on some Facebook pages, share it with your friends, share it with other Dolphin fans, all that stuff. Let's get this channel past 10,000 subscribers because, I don't know what I do. I got to do something for you guys for helping me break 10,000 subscribers. But other than that, I will see you guys with the next video, what it will be. Maybe a free agency video, maybe start my cuts video. Comment below. Let me know. A lot of you guys give me good video ideas, so I'll do them. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. But like usual, stay classy. Fins up.